Hi, I'm Ben Coccio, director of Zero Day.
Hello, my name is Andre Keuck. I play Andre in Ben Coccio's Zero Day.
You're the opening credits, a film by. I wish I hadn't put that, but the opening credits, the wonderful opening credits by Dave Alcorn, really cool looking. And incidentally, of course, this little clip of footage here, just like Andre's little clip of footage coming up in a second, are all real. You know, footage from when they're little kids. I love that little pin that Cal's got. Says, "I'm 5." God, he looks like a psychopath, doesn't he? He just looks. He does not look very happy. But he's just a little kid. I mean, there's obviously nothing sinister in his mind there. But that's obviously why it's the perfect clip to use, because he just looks disturbed, as you do there with that thing coming out.
So it's actually a bottle, like a milk bottle.
That's my favorite picture. Who is that? Your brother and
that's my brother and this friend of ours that we used to hang out with in Montreal. Or in Laval, which is where my grandparents live up in
I love
Canada.
This one too, the introspective Andre.
Yeah. The thing about this clip itself is my brother and his friends and I used to make home movies.
My robots! Do what you will.
You made what kind of movies?
No.
We made
science fiction movies?
Yes, we made science fiction spoof films, and that was one of them.
That wasn't a spoof, Andre. I gotta be honest with you, when I watched that, you guys were dead serious.
That
it was great.
I
was impressed.
That was the whole idea.
The special effects were all toys, and
that was the one.
Your brother swimming in the pool, coming out, going, "I'm going to kill an alien."
Yep. I remember there was one where rubber vomit took over a space station, and we had to kill it.
That's good. You know, the thing is that one of the inspirations for this movie for me was the idea that if you look through hundreds and hundreds of hours of anybody's home footage, most of it is going to be, you know, boring as sin. But every now and then you'll find a couple little shots that are beautiful in their own way, or that say something really kind of interesting in their own way. And I mean, obviously this goes beyond that, because these guys are planning this horrible high school massacre. But just the idea that the collection of their video could be edited together, you know, coherently, but also that you could come to appreciate the kind of makeshift, you know, cinematography that they employ.
My parents' proudest moment right there.
Yeah, where you're burping in there.
Attention! Stop!
I can reenact that if you'd like, Ben.
That's quite all right. Yeah, you know, that's the thing, though. I think when you make a movie like this, that's the kind of first-person video diary narrative. You know, other movies have been made like this too. People don't think that there can be any kind of
High school located
any kind of poetry in the imagery. You know what I mean? That there can be
Right.
any kind of anything interesting happening in the imagery. That it's just going to be all awful and it's going to make you sick and the camera's always shaking. But I disagree. I mean, I think it can be really cool. And one of the things that I was trying to kind of do was trying to make it seem that as the scenes progressed, you guys get a little bit more sophisticated with what you do with the camera. That was one thing. I don't know if you felt that way, Andre, at all.
I didn't handle the camera most of the time, so I really wasn't aware of the changes in technique.
That was ADR when you say you hate this fucking school. That was you said that straight into the mic, and I put it over your head as you turned away. Worked pretty good though.
There's a myriad of supply depots all over the place. This one's in my closet.
I love that. This one's in my closet. Different closet. That's a closet hundreds of miles away.
Yep.
It's not even a closet actually. It's just a floor that happens to have floorboards that come up.
My room looks a lot cleaner now, but that is my actual bedroom.
Yeah, well, all the houses are their actual houses, your actual rooms. And whenever we could, we would use what was really there, because I mean that's just the way to get you guys comfortable. That was the technique, was to get you to feel comfortable, to act natural, was to try to make everything that could be real, try to make it real.
Absolutely.
Not in any way would I consider this a Dogma 95 film or anything like that. I'm not a big fan of any kind of manifesto or rules governing how you make a movie. And I think movies should all be make-believe and made up, because you're making it up out of the top of your head, and you're juxtaposing images to make a story, and you're throwing things together that never were together, and you're faking it the whole way, and I think that's the way it should be. And the whole point of this movie is it's like a front-loaded magic trick. You know, it's like you start off with everything all real. You show as much real stuff as possible, so then when that final scene comes along where everything's fake, people accept it as real much more readily. And that's kind of the whole point of what we're trying to do, I think. Remember we had a whole hours and hours of footage of us on the 4th of July that we never used?
I got night vision.
Like the time we almost killed ourselves.
Oh, Yeah, say that a little louder. We had at least a day of shooting for 4th of July stuff that we actually were thinking was going to be a pretty substantial scene, and then in the end it was just all distracting. This was really all that mattered.
Yeah.
This was really the first scene that we did. This was
the first scene.
I mean, we kind of hung out a little bit with the camera before, but this was the first written scene that we did.
Right.
How'd you guys feel right now? I always wondered. I mean, you seemed nervous that night, and you weren't. When I asked you how you felt it was going, you were really not very forthcoming. But I think the scene came out great. So I'm just curious, like, what were you?
Well, I wasn't nervous per se. I don't think nervous is the right word, but I guess I just didn't really know what to expect. Like when we finished shooting it, I was just kind of like, okay, is this everything? Is this it? This is all. We spent the whole day now, and it wasn't out of disappointment. It was out of just, okay, this is all we did for the day. Okay, because really, I'm not used to film, or at least I wasn't at the time. I am now, but.
Well, you also weren't sure how we were going to do it. And I think at this point you guys were convinced that I would accept anything because I never told you to redo stuff. We'd do a few different takes, but I never was like, that was crap, do it over.
Well, you weren't
I liked anything because I knew how I was going to edit it. I was going to take the best parts.
Right. Well, you weren't there specifically when we shot that scene. I remember you went back in the house and came out.
For part of it, but actually I was out right at the end of the dock for most of it with the other camera because I was getting the other sound and shots of the
right, okay.
Shots of the fireworks as they went up with the other camera. This scene, I mean, again, like every other, most of the scenes in this movie except for 2 are scripted, and you guys basically improvised on that script. So it's not like a Cassavetes film. We weren't like making it up as we went based on what the characters would do. We knew what was going to happen. And here's a perfect example of that where I decided for the diary segments what I was going to do was give Cal the script, and then he would go and he would do them at home on his own. And this is the first one he did on his own with the script that he had, and he augmented himself. I think he did a great job, but I knew right away that I was going to have to be there with him to do the diary script scenes because he wouldn't do them on his own. He was just
I remember that.
it was so hard to get him to do this one, and I thought he'd be into it. I thought he'd really enjoy that, but I had to go and I had to crack the whip on him.
I remember originally when you sent
again.
me the script, I started reading it, and I wanted to originally be the Thomas character.
Which was,
right.
The names were Avery, who ended up being Andre, and Thomas, who ended up being Cal in the script.
And I thought the diary segments were just like really cool, and that's what I wanted to do. But then at the audition, you kind of.
But here's the thing. That's the difference between you and Cal, which is so great. Is your strong suit was taking what I had written and delivering it like it was your own, And his strong suit was improvisation.
Yeah,
and that was so great that I had those two things there to work with. And I think you would have done the diary segments excellently, but I think just the fact that Cal's character seems much more creepy and much more mental than yours does.
Yeah, you're right.
It works with the diary segments.
Yeah, and my mother, seen here in this scene, she always said that I should do the Avery or the Andre character.
Yeah, it's definitely more your character. I love this scene, and I love, your parents are so good in this scene. Well, they're actually, wherever the parents show up, both yours and Cal's parents, I think they're great. And I'd actually casted real actor adults to play their parents in case your guys' parents didn't want to do it, but your guys' parents were willing to do it, which I was so glad about. I think part of it was because I eased them into it a little bit.
Yeah.
I think if we kind of jumped into it really quickly, they probably would have been really nervous about it. But I kind of became a presence around your guys' houses, and after a while, it was okay.
Captain of the wrestling team. Everyone thinks he's
That says it all.
He's like.
I love how your mother does that. Says it all. Because I'd never really written your mother being sympathetic to your annoyance with Brad Huff, but when she kind of started saying, but I would agree with them, I thought, yeah, you would. And
yeah, it's because my mother hates wrestlers.
What, pro wrestlers or just wrestlers in general, or
no,
Greco-Roman wrestlers?
High school. My older brother, was wrestled in high school and had a coach who wanted him to drop weight a lot and wanted him to, diet and things, and that got her very standoffish towards the entire sport.
Yeah. This is so funny because your dad is like delivering lines that I basically fed to him because I don't think he really read the script or his part or anything like that, but he's just delivering them and he's doing it so naturally, and I love it.
Yeah, that's actually how he is, though.
This is exactly how he is too, and he becomes like he's such a great character. Mainly just because he's being himself, but he is a character in real life. But he becomes a great character in the scene too.
See?
This is laughing because Cal just shot milk out his nose or something, and your mom's laughing at him, which is weird because it seems like she's laughing at the dialogue, but she's just laughing because Cal did something stupid.
Now you see what I have to put up with.
Well, the best years of your life. Those would be the best years.
We had a debate. Remember, I don't know if you remember, but while we were shooting the scene, we had a debate about whether or not we should have your mom reiterate the "These are the best years of your life's" line, and I thought it would be great. But your mom didn't think that she would actually say that. She's like, "Oh, that's a stupid thing to say. I'd never say that." I kind of did it both ways. We kind of did it both ways. I said, "Well, if you're not comfortable saying it, then it's not going to sound right." But it did sound right. It sounded good. There's my brother, just pretending his hand is getting ground up in an ice crushing machine. This scene also, again, another scene where it's scripted and the scene is written, but what we ended up doing was very different than what we wrote. You know, in the scene we wrote, you're really more kind of accepted in the party, and people know who you are, and they're talking to you and singing happy birthday to you. And what we end up doing is you guys, you know one person, and you go out onto the porch and sit down, and you're just totally...
Right.
And this is where Chris used to live. This was his house at the time. And this, of course, is where you come back later and you actually break into his house. We actually have you break into his house for real.
Well, there's another party across the street.
Yeah.
An actual party.
We did these, I think, on the same night. No, we did that the night before this, I think.
What do you mean we did the...
I think we did the break-in the night before we did this
Yeah, we
party
did.
scene. Yeah.
Because the next day we went shooting, and then he cleaned up the apartment for...
I forget how much of this was out of sequence. It's so weird because I guess just looking at the material and watching it so many damn times, I get very used to the progression being natural. But this was a lot of it was actually shot out of sequence. The only thing that we were still building up to shooting the shooting scene, which was one of the last things we did, although not the last thing we did.
Right.
Actually, I want to go back and I want to say that first scene of you guys talking in front of the school there, that's the last thing we did. That is the last thing we did. Because you said that the last thing we did was the scene where you guys are in the basement. I am positive the first scene...
No, actually, I think you're wrong because we did the scene in front of the school the same weekend as that.
Not much.
You mind if we tag along next time you go?
Yeah.
That would be very cool. We could shoot some stuffed animals.
Yeah, sure. If your parents think it's all right.
Oh, we'll convince them.
Yeah. Yes, I'm gonna call them.
Yeah, of course you will.
But yeah, absolutely. Next time I go, I want to go. I haven't been in like a year.
All right, cool. All right, great. Well, see you later then.
Hey, goodbye.
Oh, I was so mad when he did this. So stupid. But then you pulled it out of the fire. See? That was great because
I think
so
that's
dumb
funny.
when he did that, but then you saved it, I think. I love that.
6 weeks.
Oh, that's so funny. That's right. When
6 weeks.
Andre says here that they've been sitting there for 6 weeks, he asked me before. He's like, "How long should they have been sitting here?" I'm like, "I say like 2." I said say like a month and a half, and you guys are both like, "That's way too long."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. Just say 2 weeks." And then Cal goes, "How long has it been there?" 6 weeks. And I kept it because so what if it's too long? You're obviously gonna develop a funk in 6 weeks with eggs.
Yeah.
It's gonna smell pretty bad.
This is actually not my basement.
This is my dad's basement.
Ironically
right.
enough, the basement of the house we are about to egg.
Yeah, that's right. Same house. Yeah, good point.
Ugly piece of shit Range Rover of his.
You know, we say Range Rover, Land Rover,
Yep.
Hummer. We say every fucking thing. We totally forgot what it was supposed to be, but it didn't matter.
I like Land Rovers.
I was really annoyed this night.
Why?
Do you remember? Well, because it was a long day. And I had to clean up all the eggs after we egged
This
the
was
house.
the Springfield Armory Day too, right?
I think so. But it was fun. This was a fun scene to do.
Yeah, this was great. And then we.
I love this little thing you guys do here when we go back and forth. This was written, but the way you guys did it, doing the voices and stuff. I love that. God help me, I love it.
My adolescent high-pitched squeal.
No, you're doing his mother.
Yeah, I know, but I don't
And then,
think
of
I
course,
could
we
do
cut
that
back
anymore.
to just you staring blankly. That just kind of makes it awkward. People laugh, but then they stop laughing and cut back to the...
I'm gonna break into the garage.
See, this is to me another kind of essence of this movie is sort of like plans that go awry just because of the way life actually is. You plan to go egg his car, but the car's not there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that to me is like such an important thing because that's how things happen sometimes. What are you going to do now? It's like this sort of useless dispensation of your aggression. And I mean, like, it's the same thing with Brad Huff. These first couple scenes, you're real pissed off at Brad Huff. The rest of the movie, you never mention him again.
Right, who
because
cares,
it's like
you know?
you're fixating on him for this period of time, but you know, really what happens is eventually, you know, you've fixed your anger, you fixed where it's going to be expressed, and it's not a specific person or thing. It's a general expression of your anger that eventually happens. I love how you swear at that truck that drives by. What the fuck are you looking at, motherfucker? It's such like totally useless anger. But you were really keyed up. You guys were keyed up because we're actually egging the house. I should mention that these are hard-boiled eggs, so I could clean them up easier. But I think it would have been a lot easier with non-hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah, probably.
Little bits of hard-boiled egg all over the fucking house. Oh, God. That just took forever.
Watch your mouth, Ben.
What? You guys are swearing all over the place in this movie. You say, how many times do you say fuck in this movie?
39.
39? I thought it was more. I thought it was in the hundreds.
39.
Cal probably
In the
says it
hundreds?
less. It's funny. Cal
It's
doesn't.
a 92-minute movie.
Yeah, that would be more than one a minute. Okay, good point. So that's one fuck every 3 minutes.
Roughly.
Yeah.
Did we win that?
This scene we shot about what 2 months after we shot that. The scene.
Yeah.
This is
It
like
was freaking freezing
and it was
outside.
cold that night. Yeah, you can see the breath coming out of your mouth. I wonder if anyone ever notices that. Oh, they probably do.
And Cal was wearing a different shirt. Yeah, there was
Yeah,
the
but
breath
it's
right
okay
there.
because I never cut to Cal. It's all from his perspective right now. I love this. I love you just lay down and just on the.
And
The
this
only
was
thing that's
actually at the
sad is that
school.
there's really no. I feel I failed with this little bit because what I wanted to do is wanted to show clearly that you were back at your school, but I never really. Just didn't work out. It's okay though. I just still like that scene. It's there's something nice about it. It's kind of like once you've expended that anger, it's like you're kind of just now you're back to being bored, and it's like
Right.
it only the happiness from it only lasts real for only like a second.
Right.
And that's it.
Attention. We're not like that.
Remember, this was the day you drove by a teacher's house and we went around his roundabout, and remember some math teacher, and Kyle's like, you got to drive into his driveway, like. Wow, let's drive into his driveway. You're like, okay, I don't want to do it. And then you almost ran over a bird, and you're like, oh, birdie.
Yep.
That's funny.
Procedure. That's why we're the army of two, not the group of assholes with guns.
That line never gets the kind of laugh I hope it will.
I think here's the thing. This is one thing that sometimes I feel like people. An interesting kind of feature of this movie, in my opinion. There's a lot of scenes where you're talking like this, especially in the bank that's coming up, where you say they can't touch us now, which is like the empty bravado of like this kid who's got this plan that no one else knows, right?
Right.
And he's just copying movies he's seen or TV shows he's seen. He's just talking like that. He's talking shit, you know.
Right.
And the thing is that that's not meant to be taken literally in the sense that, like, obviously you believe that they can't touch us, but to be honest, if the police had any idea that you had all these tapes and stuff in a safety deposit box and they wanted to get at them, I'm sure they could.
Yeah.
Sure they could touch you.
You would enjoy willing this too.
No, this was an improv. This was a good improv.
Yeah, Peter Jennings.
Wolf Blitzer.
Dan Rather. And number
Right.
3, Wolf Blitzer.
That
Because
always
he's
gets
got a
laugh.
funny name.
That's a funny name. It is a funny name. And it's funny, you did that little beep boop thing after we did this scene. You did that every time we had a blinker going.
One thing that I was
Only used it once.
I was kind of disappointed that didn't make it into the cut of the movie was the fact that whenever we went somewhere, I never parked correctly the first attempt.
Yeah, no, I remember that this was like a theme you were trying to create, but there's really no way to show it because there was
Right.
never really a shot of the car, and no one would get it, and it wasn't that funny.
No, it really wasn't. It was funny at the time.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that were funny at the time that later were that I had to sit through over and over again as I was editing it and weren't funny anymore. This is me calling you, right?
But yeah.
This is me being your mom.
Well, I'm with Cal. Yeah, well, I'll be home for
This always gets a laugh too,
Mom.
or at least like sort of one of those not like a ha ha laugh, but one of those knowing kind
Yeah,
of laughs,
like-
like oh yes, that's clever. Yeah, there's the tapes in there that we gradually put in the box in the different scenes in the bank are the actual tapes of the footage from the film.
Right.
They can't touch us now.
They can't touch us now. I mean, obviously, he believes in himself much more than anybody. He's got bravado. I mean, that's not in a sense that's not meant as like a literal line. That he's honestly communicating the idea that they can't be touched. Of course they can be touched. I love this. This was also another improv, wasn't it?
Yep.
This was great. Just that look on his face.
Subtly charged sexual
coming up
humor.
yes, exactly. Here comes my favorite improv of Cal's. This is just great. God, look at that.
He always does this.
We did it twice, and I had it in twice, but I cut one out because it made that first one much more powerful. But God, that look in his face. Now here's one of the 2 non-scripted scenes. I learned that Cal was getting his braces off, and I figured I'll kind of assume the persona of a family friend documenting it for posterity.
Like
Not
Alfred
that anyone
Hitchcock
would ever do that. I don't know.
being the guy on the elevator in all his movies. Or on the bus or
Kinda,
something.
yeah. It's kind of like that. Only the only difference is that you could. I don't know. There's no comparison. No, I'm kidding.
You should have gotten him when we started with his teeth were so messy.
I love this guy.
So long.
Dr. Dave. So cool.
Braces, goodbye.
Bye-bye, braces, goodbye. Actually had a lot more footage of this. Yeah, I think for me, the whole kind of, the thing I love about this scene, and not to be too morbid, but you've watched the movie now, you know it's pretty morbid anyway, but I mean, here his parents had put all this time, money, and effort into making his teeth look good, and he's later on going to blow his teeth through the back of his skull. It's just sad.
What, that they had to spend that much money, or that
Yeah.
their child died?
A little of both. A little from column A, a little from column B. There's Cal's real mother.
No, not like. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. They're straight.
Cal's sister off camera talking. He's a funny guy. He really is.
Cool.
I like him.
I remember when I got my braces off, it was such a great feeling to rub your tongue over the teeth.
Yeah, me too. I had braces too. Yeah. I know your pain. What's next?
August 2nd.
Right. Oh man, this
Oh.
was a fun. This scene was actually very conscious on my part, an homage to Taxi Driver. I really, watched a lot of movies, obviously, before this to kind of get some ideas, and that was clearly one of them. And
Some 60-year-old loser sitting in a gun store saying,
this scene, I don't think anybody. I don't think everybody does, but I'm sure some people do. This scene was not meant as some kind of like gun control tract. I mean, this is actually my dad's bedroom. These are my dad's and brother's guns. I grew up around all those guns. I never shot anybody. I mean, when I was a little kid, those guns, you treated them with wide berth. You treated them with great respect as like a hazardous material that are very dangerous. But there was no menace to them. Although this is my life right here. My dad did teach me how to hunt when I was young, and he wouldn't let us know where the key was, but we all knew where the key was.
Right.
And my brother and I used to go into my dad's room and play with his guns when he wasn't home. We never pointed them at each other, though, but we did play with them all the time. But as I say, you gave him wide berth and you gave him a lot of respect, but there was nothing menacing about it. When we went out like target shooting,
all right, let's check out the
because I didn't really like hunting too much. I didn't like the idea of shooting something. But when we went out target shooting, there's nothing menacing about it at all.
Personally, I'm not a big
It was just
fan.
fun.
Next, we have the Pride of the Old West here.
The pride of the Old West. Was that yours or was that my line? I can't remember.
I don't know.
That's
that might have
I
been
like
me.
that. That always makes me laugh. I don't
Close
know.
it up. 3 football players have tackled me in back.
This is another example in the movie of like when you give a little hint of what you're preparing to do. You never really come out and say,
Right.
we're going to go shoot up the school. But like obviously that's what you're preparing to do. And that's sort of like a little admission that yes, you are planning to do
Yeah.
something like that. My dad found that gun in an apartment that he moved into when he was a young man. It was that gun and a .38 special without
Oh
a
my
firing
God.
pin in it. We're in a kitchen cupboard in a brown paper bag.
Of all things to
Fucking
find.
scary. That's a fun gun to shoot the little. That's a fun gun to shoot the little 25. That's cool.
I like that one.
I do not like that one. The 44. It doesn't do anything for. Actually, that's a 357 Magnum. That doesn't do anything for me.
I would have rather
I love
fired
this shot.
the 45.
Oh yeah.
Pistol.
Oh, the 45. Who doesn't
But-
like a Colt 45? That's the classic
I don't
Sergeant
know.
Nick Fury gun. What a classic gun. I love the 45.
To apply this.
I remember when we shot this scene. Your car
This
had what was wrong with it? Brakes.
Tires got balled.
The tires were
Yeah,
bald.
Driven
and,
on those tires for like.
so you had to
2
go
years solid.
to a garage to have them fixed, and you gave me the shotgun.
That's right.
and we're
and
just
told you
like,
to go. I told you to do
"Here,
the
play with
routine
it."
of the. I
You
didn't
were-
tell you to play with it. Actually, I did. I
You
told
said
you to
to
do the
go
routine of
run
putting the
around in the
stock on over
backyard
and over
and
again until
chase
you got
kids.
quick at it. And remember,
Right.
your best time was like 62
60
seconds
something,
or
yeah.
something like that. And you actually do beat your best time in this, which is great.
Yep. Oh, sure. Ruined the surprise for them.
They've seen it already. They're watching the commentary.
Oh, that's probably true.
we never know.
I love the cat. I mean, that was obviously not scripted. And
Clearly.
this is actually this is one of the scenes in the movie. There's a few of them that's exactly as I wrote it, in the sense that the idea of this hand coming in with the stopwatch while we see what you're doing, to me it's like a challenge, because there's no cut in this scene from when you start doing it to when you finish. So it's like a challenge to it's literally 54 seconds of exactly what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's kind of a challenge to make it interesting, and I mean I'd like to think it is. I mean I don't think it's boring or anything like that, and
My
that to me,
nasty
this is
boots.
to me is like kind of like this is the fun of doing a movie like this, is like kind of trying these like weird little shots at that you can never really do in a normal movie, in a normal third person narrative. I mean, you could, but it fits for this, you know. And the light is all nice coming in. And
Now, can we actually see you jumping up and down, or was
no, I
Dave
cut
wrong
that.
about that?
That used to be in there, but I cut that out. It's right now, but you wouldn't see it. See me in the mirror there? Yeah.
See, I always think that that's you right behind Cal.
No.
You see where I'm-
That's my dad's desk.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. No, because it looks like there's someone kneeling behind Cal.
No. I'm sitting off to the side.
Oh, okay.
Sitting off to the right of camera. Yeah, whenever there's a mirror or something, you know, I tried to control the camera as much as possible, and I would say I was never out of control of the camera. Even if someone else had it, I was right there trying to. But there were times like this where you have these mirrors where you just have to, you know, I'd have to tell Cal to do it a certain way, and we'd do a few run-throughs, and then we'd do it and try to get it right. Oh, man.
That strange Lebanese man who's in all the shots.
That meow is like 5 different meows put together. I'm serious.
Really?
I had to engineer a meow because the meow that you said was trampled by a line, so I had to
Oh, wow.
put that together. This scene here, my friend Paul and I used to always go to, when we were kids, we'd go to cemeteries and try to make puns on the names of the graves and stuff. I don't know why it's a teenager thing to hang out in cemeteries.
A descendant of Mr. or Mrs. Kermay was running for a probate judge in our town.
Ah. Well, you know, this is one of 2 scenes that is not scripted that I kind of came up with. In fact, the whole character I came up with along the way, because we used to have a girl character, but she was older, and in the script,
Right.
and she wasn't a girlfriend. And not that she's supposed to be a girlfriend; it's supposed to be ambiguous, but. I love this scene, and the thing about it is actually, I was so concerned. I was like, this sounds so cliched, but I was like, should I do it at the cemetery or the railroad tracks? It's like, and you know, the funny thing is like, this is one thing that I'm always self-conscious about in the movie is like, it's at a cemetery. It's such like obviously a loaded symbol, but you know, somehow I think they pulled it off. You know, and I don't think it feels too like. It's not. I mean, I guess it's not that there's just not a ton of shots of like mausoleums and angel statues and crap like that. But.
Gargoyles.
She's great though. She's really good, and she like her hair looks like so like nice and beautiful, and like you know, like the red shirt. Like I don't know. It's just, I mean, it's just kind of like it's just a nice. It's weird. It's a nice bright.
Becoming like him.
Scene and the great thing about it is the kind of subcontext here of like, you know, Cal kind of playing with her. It's like a game for him, you know, because he knows that she doesn't know what he's thinking, and he's just playing with that. I love that. Now wait, you knew Rachel, but Rachel really knew Cal more, right?
Yeah, I would say that was accurate.
You acted with Rachel?
Yeah, I was Oberon to her, to Tanya in Midsummer Night's Dream.
But the thing about her is that, remember she was in the, I don't know if you knew this, but she was in the auditions. She just kind of got swept up in the auditions randomly, not because of Cal or anything.
Yeah, I remember.
I wasn't too impressed with her audition. And I was like, whatever. And then I gave Cal a camera to go get some of his own stuff, which none of that ever made the final cut, with him just going around and interviewing friends and stuff like that. And she was one of the girls that he videotaped. And like she was acting so natural in front of the camera. It's so different than the audition. And I was like, she's awesome. And that's when I decided to.
Well, I remember when... After you gave us the part, you came over and we had the parent-student meeting at my house, and you brought...
Try to convince your parents.
The headshot book.
Let me make a movie where your kids blow their brains out.
And you brought the headshot book with the resumes of everybody who had auditioned. And
that's right, and you pointed her out.
And we were just flipping through the pictures, and we were like, hey, it's Rachel. We've done shows with her.
Yeah.
And so you were like, hey, well, let's use her. Or I'm sorry, you were, hey, let's use her.
Shut up. Oh, really? Is that how he sounded, Andre?
Yeah.
Okay, it's your turn. You. No. You get up. You get up. And it is now my turn to do this to you.
It was not planned that he wear a Marilyn Manson shirt.
Yeah, someone...
I think I can safely say that because he's wearing the shirt.
Yeah, I watched it.
But the thing is, and I know, you know, what the whole situation at Columbine and how they closed down a few of his shows afterwards. I never meant to make that as like a comment or anything like that. It just actually turned out that he happened to have that shirt and he wore it that day. I would have actually, if I asked him not to wear a shirt with anything on it because I was always concerned about copyright issues and all that kind of stuff. But he was never one to. Cal's not one to always like listen to what I said. Almost never, actually. Cal and I had kind of a Werner Herzog Klaus Kinski thing going. I almost shot him a few times.
Well, he almost shot me that one time.
What?
You remember when we were doing the shooting on the farm with Jamie and Chris, and he thought that he shot me.
No, what are you talking about?
Well, no, I was blowing up the balloon.
Oh, and the balloon popped.
The balloon burst, and he was like just holding the weapon, and he thought that he had shot me, but really he hadn't.
I forgot all. I probably blocked that out of my memory. Probably what I did is the stuff I never wanted to tell your parents. I blocked out of my memory.
Pipe bombs make excellent anti-personnel weapons.
The infamous pipe bomb scene. And this is the nexus of the movie for me, in a sense. And I mean, it's a difficult scene. It really is. Basically, they show you how to make a pipe bomb, but that to me is not the point of the scene at all. To me, the point of the scene is it's like a microcosm of the rest of the movie. There's no whys. There's no, why they're doing this. It's just how to. And the thing is, that's my whole point here, is that I really wanted to do is just show the process of them getting ready for it. Whatever decision brought them to this point that they're ready to go commit this horrible massacre happened before the movie starts. Sure. And we never really say why. We avoided saying why throughout the whole movie, because the whole point is, to me, you'll never know why. You can never know. Even if you ask them, even if you could go up to the afterlife and find guys who did this sort of thing and say, so why'd you do it? And they tell you straight to your face. The reason would never equate with what happened, And also the other thing about this scene that is sort of another nexus for the kind of themes in the movie is that, obviously a lot's been said about the gun debate in this country, but this scene, I love this because here these guys they go to a hardware store and they buy lead pipe. They cap it off. I mean, how difficult is it to make a pipe bomb? I mean, you don't need this scene to tell you how to make a pipe bomb. Any idiot can figure out how to make a pipe bomb. And remember that kid a year ago who was going around the country
putting them in mailboxes. Yeah,
putting pipe bombs in mailboxes. He didn't see this movie.
Yeah, definitely not.
And that's the thing. I mean, you can take any tool and use it improperly. Well, not any tool, but you can take a lot of things.
I think we could find improper uses for just about anything.
Well, yeah, you probably could, and that's kind of the point, is that it's not the objects are inert. I mean, it's lead pipe, a bullet, a gun. These things are totally inert. I mean, it's as simple as saying guns don't kill people, people kill people, and it's
guns don't kill people, bullets kill people.
It's those damn bullet things. You guys were really resistant about burning the swastika.
I still am resistant about burning the swastika.
Well, tell me about why.
I just think, I understand why you wanted to do it because it's just so completely foreign, but because it's so completely foreign to the rest of the movie, I just think it's out of place.
I don't think it's foreign at all. I think these are the kind of guys who are playing. I mean, the whole point of that for me is they're playing with offensive symbols. It's just sort of like when, I don't know if you ever did this, but you're like in 6th grade and you draw a swastika on your notepad.
I want to interrupt real quick. If they look at the background and the chair, that's my bloody shirt from the shooting scene.
Oh, that's right. I forgot all about that. Boy, you and your Easter eggs. Throughout the whole movie, Andre was obsessed with the idea of Easter eggs. Things that he's like, how about we have the keys move from here to here? That will be our Easter egg. And I'm like, how many Easter eggs can you have? It's not
we go into the store, come out, and the car's in a different spot.
Wow.
It's great.
It's great. But no, to me, the whole thing about this is that they're just matter-of-factly showing you how to do it. And the scene isn't really how to make a pipe bomb. It's how did these kids get to the point where they want to show us how to make a pipe bomb.
Right.
And we don't know. And the movie never tells you. And I think that might frustrate some people, that there's no answer.
Would duct taping shrapnel to the outside actually do anything?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
really?
Sure. Why not? Just it wouldn't be as forceful as if it was inside with the bomb. It would definitely be dangerous.
I'm still upset that you cut that line.
Anything is dangerous. No, Andre has a line right at the end where he says, "If there are any survivors." It was not a bad line, and it was delivered well. But I liked it ending more with a whimper than with a bang. So not to use bad play of words. Of course, the sitar was not written in the script at all. But Cal had one, and I thought, I don't know, it's cool. Why not?
I think that would have been tremendously creative on your part to write in him playing a sitar.
I know. I'm not that creative. But the nice thing about this is that there's no music in the whole movie. It was a choice. It was a creative choice, but it was also a financial choice. I couldn't afford any.
Well, plus music doesn't really fit in the scheme of
that's what I mean. It was a creative
plot.
choice. Yeah, the whole idea of it being their video diary and stuff. How would there be music unless it was like playing on a radio or something? And that's getting a little too cheap for me to have it, in the car. It's going, and it's exciting music when they're angry, and it's sad, slow music when they're talking about how their parents used to
It's like that car commercial where they're dancing to the music.
There are no such thing as car commercials in the universe we live in. No, nothing of that.
I didn't say what company. I didn't say anything about what car.
To it either. Don't bother. But no, that's kind of neat because the playing of this sitar obviously punctuates his lines. These diary segments were really difficult to do because Cal was really the way, like, unlike you, the way he approached the whole movie and doing the whole thing was really like 100% intuitive, whereas you used, not that you didn't use any intuition, but it was more cerebral for you, and this was the hardest thing for him because he could do it when it was you and Andre. It was very easy when it was you and Cal. It was very easy to bounce things off of each other. But when he's alone, kind of forced to look at the camera, I had to prompt him a lot throughout these diary things because it was hard for him to, I think he did a great job, but it was really hard for him to. It's scary to kind of to go down there and really kind of fish those feelings out. But like any teenager, he has things in his life that he could kind of tap into to help him be disturbing and convincing.
Your homes, and everybody else will just have to see it on the news.
But yeah, I mean, these diary segments, the great thing about them is it's like they're diary segments. He's talking directly to you, telling you what's going on in his mind, and it's still, you've had this distance. You feel so intimate and close with the characters throughout the whole thing because of the whole first-person kind of feel and the video and everything like that. But you realize how far away you are from them because they never tell you. They never tell you really anything.
Because no matter how much they tell you, you don't know what they're not telling you.
There you go. They are in control of the narrative. That's the whole point. They're in control of the movie. Well, they believe they're in control for the whole thing, but actually they lose control when the surveillance cameras come on. That, to me, is a crucial thing, that there's someone else watching what they're doing. They've created this whole little world, and they're living in it, and they're documenting their whole little world, but they are living in the real world, and other people have to deal with their decisions and actions.
My friend Derek's dog ate those glasses.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Your Terminator glasses? Oh,
yeah.
Your cool glasses?
In
your
retrospect,
Hitman glasses?
They are kind of, like, hideous.
No, they're awesome.
They're really big.
They were so perfect for this whole... I mean, you used them a lot in the movie, and it really worked. It was great shooting at Chris's house because, he doesn't live there anymore, so I can call it a slummy, awful place. It was like a crack whore married a pack rat. This is where they lived. It's the worst place in the world. But it was great because here's this guy that's related to you, and he lives in this kind of slummy place. He's got all these guns. Oh, I just thought,
And we're gonna go out in the woods.
And shoot cantaloupes. It's just funny. And the thing is, too, I mean, here's another kind of big theme in this for me. The theme in the movie of the idea that these kids are betraying the trust of their family who love them. Like, this cousin guy has no idea what they're up to. He has no idea what they're planning. And they're going to use him. They're going to use him. They're going to use him. They're going to go test out their guns and then steal them from him.
Yep.
And he's going to get in trouble, probably. People are obviously going to blame him for this. But he loves his cousin. He's just going to do something fun with him. And this for me, this was a pastime when I was a kid. This is like, I grew up in a rural area. This is like hick pastime. Is you go out and you shoot crap.
If anybody wants to find out what happened to Chris after 0 Day, they can go to officialreport.org.
Yes, that's the fake police report that we set up on the web.
All right, we're out. What are we shooting next?
But I love this scene, not least for the way it looks. I really... The light was just perfect that day, and it's just beautiful. And this is one of those scenes that really not only survived the transfer to film, but it like excelled in the trend. Look at that! Look at his hair. I mean,
the colors
like these
are really good.
Golden, like flaxen, just beautiful, like a halo of hair on him.
All right, calm down there, Ben.
He's beautiful. He's like a little angel. It's really
an angel of death.
Ooh.
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 He's a natural.
Natural selection.
Yeah, I like that. That worked. I mean, the thing about this is that, again, it's like, his parents, his cousin, these people, they will, if you trust someone, you're not going to worry about taking them out to do something like this, And I think that part of it is that the audience knows what these kids are really thinking, and there's a menace to this scene that people are laughing at this scene. This gets the biggest laughs in the movie because it's just fun and funny. But there's a menace there, too, especially towards the end.
Sure.
Okay, old Bambi. I love that guy is flying. It's great.
Did that actually happen? Like, did he shoot
If you listen really close to... I'm sorry to interrupt. If you listen really close to when you were just shooting there, this is awesome ricochet sound. Anyway, sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to ask if he really shot the
yeah, that's me
the plastic
shooting those.
guy.
Yeah, that's me. I was just looking at the footage the other day. That was me shooting it.
Oh, okay.
God, look at that. Oh, that's,
Ninja Turtle.
It's great.
My mommy
was killed by a hunter. Now I will be too.
That's just funny. I'm sorry. I don't care what horrible things you've lived through in your life. That is pretty goddamn funny. But this was the first time you guys had ever shot guns.
Not me.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
well,
I
it looked
had
like
shot...
it. You had your elbow up like a
well,
chicken
I didn't
wing.
say I
What
had
the
shot
hell are you
them
doing?
often. I shot at a Boy Scout camp once.
Oh yeah.
I shot
that doesn't
22s.
count. Oh, whatever. It's the first time you ever shot anything with balls.
Yes.
That by the way, that's what they call a what the hell they call this? A bird buster or something like that. What it is it's a shotgun shell with an M80 in it. You shoot the M80 shoots out. You'll see Cal use one later on a melon. It shoots out and then it sits for a second, then it explodes. This is just normal load. That's just buckshot, I think. This is actually Chris's friend Jamie shooting. He's expert. That I don't think Andre and Cal, they were good. They were naturals, but they weren't that good. Here's Cal shooting the thing with.
You can see the smiley face painted on the melon.
Oh, bam! There you go. Those things are fun. Those things are very fun.
Get a picture of me.
Damn, gee.
That's I love that. That's where it kind of that last scene just adds a little taste of menace there. It's a little disturbing.
This is one of my favorite parts. I think this is one of the funniest parts of the movie where the little kid starts taking issue with our videotaping him as we unload an arsenal of guns.
Yeah, and Chris goes, "Why are you looking at us? Why isn't anyone looking at you? Got 4 guns on your back." It's hilarious. I feel bad because later on in this scene, when Cal asks Chris, which one of these would be best to kill someone with, Chris actually says some really interesting things that I'd kept in until the very final cut, but I just took him out because, again, I didn't want to be in any way have any kind of polemic in this movie. I didn't want to be on either side of the gun debate or either side of any kind of debate. Just wanted to show what happened.
I think that works
this to me,
pretty
the
well.
whole point of doing this movie to me, like, all I wanted to do was hold up a mirror to tell my version of the truth, of what I think happened in these events that I have no personal involvement in. And that was the only reason I wanted to do it. And that's, I guess the reason it fascinated me so much is the dramatic potential between your two characters. You guys make this plan and you plot for a year and you follow it through and you take it to the end. And it's just, it's tragic and it's dramatic and it's obviously attention getting. People can't, it's not easy to ignore.
Do the Jamaican dance.
But it's easy to, it's easy to discount. Because you can, it's exploitative.
Right.
Yeah. Here, of course, this was, I sent Cal away with the camera to go do his, I had a family vacation scene written, but I just decided that he was going on a vacation, he should take the camera and get it himself and see what he gets, and if I didn't like it, we could do a scripted one. And
remember he
didn't charge the fucking batteries.
And he left his script at an Amish restaurant.
He left his script in an Amish restaurant. I wonder what they made of that. And this is like a 2-minute scene out of 5 minutes of footage.
Really?
But I love this. I love this little, because especially when you see it on the big screen when it's in a theater and that little kid is beaming out that love to the audience.
Right.
It's so weird.
Because he just loves his brother so much, and that's who he's looking at.
I know. Oh, hey, here's your PowerPoint presentation.
That I made myself on my own computer.
Right. I set you to work on it. You did a great job, too. I love that.
Thank you.
People have done this in the past. They've always had a predetermined date to do it.
This is another scene that I think has really beautiful light. It's like a Rembrandt painting.
You have all these plans laying around saying May 27, May 27.
Basically, there's just one big window, and we had the right exposure at the time. The sun was coming, was not directly coming into the window, and we had the shade down a little bit, and it just was... we used only available light except for like 2 or 3 scenes. It was usually always available light.
I remember Cal's computer didn't have the right stencil font.
That's right.
So we had to drive back to my house, copy it onto a disc, and then drive back to Cal's.
You make it sound like we had to go across Siberia. It was 2 blocks away. Andre and Cal lived in the same town. They're like a 2-minute walk from each other, and
doesn't work.
It's a little town in Connecticut. It's really cute, really quaint.
Really
the
boring.
kind of place that people would say, "Oh, that would never happen here."
Right.
Blow some people away.
I love how this is the first time you actually articulate what exactly you're going to do, and it's so simple and just sounds so stupid, actually.
Yeah.
I love that.
To go over the invasion plan and basically go through the guidelines.
Here's the other, this is another kind of, there's a lot of false starts and sort of false avenues throughout the movie. Like, you guys are convinced that this is pretty much the last time you're going to say anything until, you know, you get that 0 degree day. And of course that never comes. And
should be sure to eliminate.
but you're all kind of full of bravado right now. But compare this scene to the suicide note scene, you know.
Right.
And there's like clearly you guys have gone, your characters have changed throughout. That to me is actually a really exciting thing that I was hoping I could accomplish, and I think I did. Is like you guys have the, you know, at different times throughout the movie, it seems like one of you is in control and the other isn't, and it flops. It goes back and forth, and I love the idea of people trying to figure out who's the leader. You know,
I still can't decide. People always ask me, well, do you think you were the leader character in the movie? And I just say, you know, I don't think there was either one.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
Maybe it's a
even if I
cop-out,
had an
but-
opinion, I wouldn't probably tell people.
Live hard and die by any combination of those two.
Cool.
The end.
Yeah, I even kind of toyed with the idea of not having those date cards.
Really?
And just going straight from scene to scene. But I think that just would have been really...
I think it would have been confusing.
Yeah. Would have not only it would have been... I think people would have gotten it eventually, but this is just obviously easier way to set it up. I love this diary segment. I think he's really good in this, and this is actually September 12th, 2001, or September
really?
13th, 2001, yeah. It's like right after September 11th, which I think helped.
Usually
Almost
the
all the
12th
diary
does come
segments, except for
after
the
the
first
11th.
one, we shot on the same day.
Really?
Yeah, we shot them all except for the first one on the same day.
Cool.
And it worked, you know? I don't think it's noticeable.
Not really.
You know, built up my part, and he had built up his, and then we came together and made this, like, point.
That wasn't planned, the way his hands come together and it mirrors the roof. That just was one of those nice, happy accidents.
School, let's go do this. Because we didn't need to. It was already there.
Yeah, the diary segments were hard for me, too, because, you know, I thought that they would end up being hard for me in the editing, because I thought they'd end up being the most boring goddamn things you'd ever watch,
Right.
you know, just awfully boring and just really unwatchable. But actually, I really like them now.
Why are you dressed like that?
It's a mission. Why aren't you dressed?
Because you didn't tell me what the mission was.
This scene is...
Somewhere I don't know.
This scene is another one that morphed a lot by the way we did it. I mean, it was written and...
Right. Well,
I
originally,
can't remember, what did I tell you?
you wanted me to wear the mission clothes originally, and I was being a difficult person about that because I didn't want to wear it in public.
That's right.
And so I kind of BS'd my way into saying that my character wouldn't wear it in public, and I think you bought that. 'Cause
I did buy that, and actually,
obviously, I'm not wearing them.
I think that, I mean, it turned to me that made a lot of sense, because you were, you know, you're more by the book, and that would be portraying the whole plan.
Thank you.
That, of course, is not an actor. That's just some guy.
Right.
Who is that guy?
I don't know.
Got to release. That's all that matters.
Yep.
I had written a poem that I gave to Cal for him to read, but he, of course, wanted to change it and do it himself, which I actually encouraged, because the whole point is it's not supposed to be a good poem. It's supposed to be kind of the poem that a kid like this would write,
Right.
which is, you know, going to be pretentious and awful and filled with bizarre symbology that doesn't add up to anything. and-
Symbology.
Symbology. Is that even a word?
It
Look
is
that
if
up,
you've seen the
America.
Boondock Saints.
Watch it.
Oh, sorry.
There's
Which
no
is an
other movies
excellent
in the
movie.
world. Only this movie. I love how actually no one clapped for real until he
Right.
said thank you, and then they all kind of politely start clapping.
Right.
This was the whole point. The way we did this scene was we got permission to do it, but we didn't tell anyone in the open mic night that we were going to be doing it. So actually, most people thought this was for real. And the altercation that you have with the guys there, the other two actors, these two guys, most people thought that was a real altercation.
Well, there were only like 5 people in the entire place.
Yeah.
Too.
No, there's more than that.
Not many. Probably more though. Yeah.
I kind of wish in some ways that I had made them do. I think it would have been also funny to have the guys up on stage do like a fake, like not fake, but like a improvised street hip hop kind of
Oh,
thing.
God.
That would have been great. I wish I had done that. That would have
Playing
been
off
really
of his
funny.
ethnicity, I see.
No, there's a white one and a black one. It's all multicultural here.
It's like chess.
You take the camera.
But we used to, I mean, you probably remember this. We cut out, there was actually a whole build up to this altercation that comes up right here. And I cut it
Yeah.
all out because it just didn't feel real. And this to me seemed right because it's like the camera goes on and off just because you accidentally turn it on or something as you're getting pushed around. I like that better. And it's evocative. You wonder what happened, how they got into that kind of little tussle. But here comes Cal's. This improv is a great idea. See, the thing about Cal's sort of intuitive approach is that it ended up adding a lot to scenes. And this, what did you think when he told you to do this? I mean, at this point we'd been doing. This was one of the last things we did, so I think you were really used to like working with him. But how did you feel about him telling you to drive with your eyes closed?
I figured when we did it, you were in the car because we cut from this part so you could get back in.
Yeah.
And I figured, you know what, if anything's going to go wrong, Ben will tell me not to do it. So we're just going to do whatever we want until Ben says stop.
And of course, 10 minutes later, I was yelling at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll never forget that as long
Nope.
as I got mad at Andre's driving, and I threatened that I'd castrate him. It's the only way to get his attention. They're teenagers. You gotta take the bull by the horns. After a while, I felt like a surrogate parent sometimes. It was really great. I mean, to just hang out with these two guys for a substantial period of time was a lot of fun. But I didn't feel like, sometimes I felt like a parent, and sometimes I felt the same age or younger than them, which was embarrassing. But this
Don't
was
worry, Ben.
also.
We always thought of you as younger than us.
This was scripted, but not as New Year's Eve, actually, as Thanksgiving. And again, this was another example of where I sent Cal with the camera, and if I didn't like what I got, I would do a more scripted one. But I mean, this is only a minute-long scene, and it's really just sort of like meant to show time passing, to show that it's winter and that they haven't done it yet. And I just like the kind of vibe of this weird sort of gathering here. You're not sure whether they're family or friends. It's like it doesn't look like his house like you've seen it in other scenes, because it's not actually. It's his cabin somewhere in the woods, and you know, everybody looks happy. And I think I just like that kind of going back and forth. But and then of course you come to this scene, and now he's 10 days later, and he's
I find it interesting that his shirt says PAX on it.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Which he wrote on it after he bought it at the Goodwill store.
Yeah, Cal's a strange guy. Yeah, he's not strange.
May 1st.
It's a good kid.
It's kind of interesting how we thought, like, you know, fate.
Throughout the movie, he's wearing the Buddhist peace beads too.
That's all throughout. Yeah, that was actually, he asked if he could do that, and I thought, why not? I don't mind that. I love how he says, well, this is kind of fate too, choosing a date, which it's not at all. I mean, neither of it's fate. I mean, they're planning to do it. They're going to do it. You know, it's not anyone's fault but their own. I mean, that's even though I don't propose any reason why, I am obviously coming from these two characters' perspective, and I am trying to make them watchable. I in no way want to make someone who would do something like this, you know, necessarily sympathetic. I mean, that's an impossible task anyway.
One, two, three, four.
That's all the footage of the movie right there. 30 hours of it.
And you got to go through all that, didn't you?
I certainly did.
That must have been fun.
Yeah, actually, I mean, it was a long editing process because I had so much footage and I was doing it myself, but it was kind of fun, actually. I mean, in a weird way, because that's the whole thing, is that I knew that this, you know, you guys, I think about the kind of movie it would have made if I hadn't had you two actors, and it would have been a different movie. It also might have been a really awful movie, because I look back at the script and I realize that it's flat. It's like Robert Bresson says, he has a quote that goes something like, the movie comes to life in your mind, you kill it on the page, you bring it back to life with the actors, you kill it in the camera, and then you resuscitate it one last time with the editing. And that's exactly how I felt about this thing. I mean, you guys really brought it to life, because the script is flat, you know, flat as a pancake, and you guys really brought it to life. And then the editing was my way of adding to our kind of improvisation.
You wrote the script, what, 3 years ago?
No. I wrote it like a month before we started shooting. We started shooting July 4th, and I wrote it in July 4th, 2001, and I wrote the script. I finished writing the script in...
Okay, so 2 years ago then.
Yeah, March 2001.
And so that made you, what, 26, 27?
25.
25. So yeah, you were kind of no longer a teenager. It was kind of hard for you to write how teenagers would speak.
Well, that was the whole point.
Right.
I never tried to write how teenagers speak. That's not what I think made it flat. What made it flat was you guys brought character to it. I mean, there was, you know, Avery and Thomas were the two names of the characters in the script. And we ended up using, I ideally wanted to use the kids' real names, because if I wanted to use their real families, I didn't want to have to get them to remember a name, because I could just see some doddering older relative going like, Avery, and it kills it, and then everybody knows, oh yeah, they told him to call him Avery. And it's like, why even bother? So I was really glad that they allowed me to use their real names, because it just really helped.
We've got video games, PlayStation games, we got DVDs, lots of CDs, lots more CDs.
I think there's a differentiation between the two characters in the script, and basically Avery was like Andre is, more by the book, more step by step, and Thomas was like Cal is, more intuitive and more definitely mental, but you guys brought so much more to it than was there, and that's what I'm trying to say. And I added my contribution really in the editing, in a sense, because I took the best moments that you had and put them in a certain order, and the cutting style.
Gotcha.
You're right. The dialogue was flat, though. That's why.
Books.
Here's Cal
movies,
basically explaining that they didn't get it from movies, games, or video games, or books, or anything. And that's basically how I feel about it.
What is that?
This is a note I got from a girl in like the 8th grade.
Aww.
I watched many violent movies and played many violent video games, and I've never done anything like this. I swear.
I think it's kind of pathetic that this kid kept a note from a girl from the 8th grade.
I kept a note from a girl from the 8th grade. In fact, I was going to use that note. I couldn't find it, so I had my girlfriend write up a new one for you. And I had her dot the I's with hearts and other stuff.
Oh, God.
She did a great job.
That I didn't notice. I didn't notice the hearts over the eyes.
And Cal's just reading it right off the page. He does such a good job. And he says frowny face. I love that.
Enough now. I don't want you saying her name. All right? It's enough.
That exchange between you guys always, to me, seemed like the most natural exchange. You really seem embarrassed. You did a great job.
Well, it was
in that
embarrassing.
scene. But it's not really a note from a real girl. You're acting. My God.
We were.
No, you really get used to the whole improv thing, and you forget that you guys are actually acting.
Shit. We gotta do it now.
That's a scripted line, and I think a strong one. And this idea that, really up until this point, you guys haven't done jack shit. You basically egged a house and complained.
And bought some pipes at the Home Depot.
Yeah, made bombs. Okay,
At a
that
hardware
is definitely
store.
something. But you haven't really done anything yet. And here, to really force yourself over the edge, you burn all your possessions. I love that.
Like, she thinks I'm some kind of fucking
great.
psycho.
And now you have to do it, because now you don't. How could you really explain that?
Mom, we burned all our stuff.
That's a great. Oh man, that's a great improv there, where she thinks I'm a fucking psycho, and Cal goes, "You are a fucking psycho." I love that. It's just really good. And then he gets all embarrassed when he starts. This is another really good exchange between you guys. I really love this exchange between you guys. I think you did a great job here.
What's going on?
Hey, who's the acne one?
Yes, point out my skin deficiency.
Well, that's the thing. You guys are actually talking, and it mixes in with the lines, and it just comes out real nice and natural.
Well, who says I didn't get asked? I just didn't want to go.
You didn't get asked. That's a pile of shit.
So?
You guys kept on talking, but I thought that was a great end.
Yeah.
There's actually something that I wish I could have kept in here, where Cal talks. Cal actually tells a real story about how he got beat up when he was in.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was great, and it was delivered so well, and it was really creepy and poignant. But I kept it out because I really wanted to avoid the why, and I felt like if I threw in one story about him getting beaten up, that would be it. Everybody would be like, "Yeah, it's because he got beat up," which is a load of shit. I got beat up. I never shot anybody. You can't. That's a ridiculous, stupid excuse,
I never got beat up in high school.
Here's another great improv. Cal did this right off the cuff.
And never burn out.
And I thought I didn't really have it because he's so dark. So I asked him to do it again. By then the fire came up again, and he delivered it awfully when I asked him to do it again. Then I realized that it's so much better that his face is so dark in that shot. It's really beautiful.
What if I was in love with the whip?
This is again a scripted scene, but this is the scene where I had the least amount of control over anything. I really just wanted to let the kids go wild. Basically, what I did was I handed off the camera, sat in the front of the limo, and let him have at it. I didn't introduce them to Cal. I didn't introduce Cal to them. They didn't know each other at all. So Cal was actually very uncomfortable, and they were, trying to get him to come around and be friendly and happy and stuff like that. I told them nothing about what his character was eventually going to do in the movie. I just told him that he was a nerdy kid. This was actually, I forget about this, but this was a big process throughout the whole movie. I would set up scenes where I would tell actors only what they needed to know and only what they had to do.
Right.
Like
Well, I
having you
remember-
guys actually break into a house or, stuff like that. Like we actually try to keep things as
Well,
real
you
as they
wouldn't
would
let
be.
me see the Rachel scenes.
Yeah, I never let you see the scene with Rachel and Cal.
Every time I asked, you were like, "Yeah, well, we got to go right now, but you can look at it later."
Yeah.
You'll look at it when we get to, when we get up to New Milford or wherever we were going.
No, yeah, and that was kind of the idea of this scene, in my opinion, is you never see the inside of the school till you go in to kill people. And I mean, that to me, the whole point is this scene here is a microcosm for everything that happens in high school to Cal. It's not that they're really against him or anything like that. They're not at all. They just don't really, he's not in their group. And, they don't really know him, and they just don't, he's not part of them. And that's how he feels. And that's the whole thing. That's the whole, ball of wax. And just try to sum it up in a very simple scene. Because it just seems to me like it just would be so god-awful if there was a scene like where Cal's walking down the halls with a video camera.
And someone just pushing him around.
You faggot, and like, give me a break, it just really doesn't seem like that would do anything for me.
I gotta go first. No, I'm saying it.
And this scene, actually, this is interesting. This scene, remember, I don't know if you recall, but in the script, this scene was the second scene.
Yeah.
And it wasn't your character, it was Cal's character.
Right.
But we decided to do you because you're the one who had the job at the restaurant.
Yep.
Which worked perfectly with the script.
Absolutely.
And your dad did such a good job in this scene.
I really
love
like
him
the
in this
food
scene.
there, too.
Fabulous job now. Oh yeah. How long until you're done?
Now.
I'm pretty much all set. You want to get out here?
Oh, that's
I remember.
Forget it. They didn't want us videotaping their secret recipe for tomato sauce,
Yeah,
if
that's
you know
right.
what I mean. No, I think the other thing about this is, Andre's dad is from Germany, he speaks German, they speak German with each other occasionally, and this was one of those things that I had no control over, but that I really wanted to put in there somewhere, because this is the kind of thing, like, if this actually happened, if you guys had actually done this, afterwards, someone would make a big deal about the fact that you spoke German. There'd be some idiot on like a news channel going like, well, he spoke German. He must have known something about Nazis. It's like, oh, Lord. Unfortunately. I love this scene. I think your dad is just so good in this scene.
There are better and bigger things out there for you.
He's so natural and he's so touching and...
Well, this is how he really is, like, all the time, with his very dry wit and humor.
Yeah.
Take that curve a little bit slower next time.
But you guys are similar, and then you can tell that in
Very
this
true.
scene. Not lemons. I love that. It is not lemons. I love that. This is a driving lesson. It is not lemons.
I know how much you love that line, man, because every time we watch the movie and I'm anywhere near you, you quote it several times to me.
Not lemons. Yeah, I mean, so anyways, this was at the beginning of the movie. This was the second scene. And as I was editing, it just seemed so great, especially after what you and Cal had said to each other at the fire there. It would just seem so great to me that, like, on prom night, you're working your crappy job at the restaurant, Everybody else is having a good time and getting laid, and you're working at the restaurant. I just thought that was just too good to pass up. It really works, too. It really makes you seem more desperate, maybe.
And who knows, your mom and I will maybe even help you out a little bit.
Sounds good.
I mean, not to downplay, I think you were great in that scene, too. I mean, not that, your dad wasn't I think, but back to the limo. You
Yeah.
really hate this scene, too.
Yeah, I think that the scene accomplishes its obnoxiousness perfectly. And and for that point, the people did an excellent job in it. But it's just so grating to watch.
Yeah. Well,
Like
that's
so
why
many people screaming and they're just like, you're gay, rock the ass. It's just, shut up.
You were right, though. I mean, every time I showed you a cut, you're like, you got to make it shorter. And I'm like, oh, how
Yep.
do I make it shorter? But you were right.
How long have we known each other?
A long time.
I remember one of the actors from this scene came to see it at one of the festivals and looked so mad when he left because
Yeah, you remember
of
you
the
telling me that,
length
but I
of the
never heard,
scene.
I never heard if he was actually upset or not. I'd like to find out.
Well, he looked fairly upset.
Oh, Andre, like everybody knows where
I really like though how
Maybe.
how uncomfortable Cal looks. This little exchange between Cal and Rachel, it's real simple and it's kind of hard to hear, but again, I think it's a great little exchange. I really.
Specific place.
She's great too because she ends up feeling like she's improvising too.
Right.
Or like she's been set up like these other guys, but she knows more because she read the whole script and she's just a really good actress. I really like her. I think all the guys in this scene were good actors and actresses. I think they were perfect for it, and these guys actually on their own have their own little they have their own little group in high school, and they like to do like comedy skits and stuff like that, and I think it shows. I mean, they're just
Who does?
The actors here: Josh Bednarski, Brian Reed, and actually a couple of the guys from the shooting scene, Derek Karg and Carmen DiBiano.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know they did stuff
I don't know if
together.
they do now, but at the time, a year ago.
Oh, wow.
I know, I do.
That one right there. Stop like right here. Right here? Yeah. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Put this little thing up. That guy gives me the creeps. He's going to see Andre.
I love that.
What's the matter with Andre?
There's a lot of matter with me. Apparently.
I just like how she's circumspect about it. It's not a big deal, She's not saying like, "We got to watch out for that Andre guy. He might be thinking about doing a school shooting." She just doesn't like him. She doesn't like you.
Yeah.
Great. So I'm gonna.
I used to have the biggest crush on Rachel. Unbelievable. Back in
she's gonna see this.
What?
She's gonna see
She knows.
this.
That's fine. But that's not the point. It's just years ago.
I love this little bit at the end here with Sarah Taryn when she just that's Sarah Taryn and Dranger, the girl on the couch there in the back of the limo.
See you later, Red. Bye. Nice meeting you.
Bye.
Yeah.
I had a good time.
Bye, Cal.
You rock ass.
You rock the ass.
Good night.
Hi, I'm Cal. I'm an actor.
So this scene was actually one of the last scenes we did. We did it after we did the shooting scene, and actually I think that helped a lot. We had like a lot of the scenes there was like scripting for this scene, and they looked at the lines and they kind of remembered the lines, but really it was more like they just sort of. You guys just kind of you took what we wrote and you just sort of you went off with it and you added your own thing and.
Well, the scene's only about 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 3 minutes long, and we shot like an hour.
Yeah, we were down there for.
Yeah, it was the weekend. It was the weekend right after September 11th, so the emotions were.
That's true. I forgot about that. Yeah.
That was really strange.
Well, the coolest thing is
I remember that now.
Do you remember you guys were like, we thought of some stuff, and we kind of want to just go, kind of ramble on a bit, and I was like, oh god, you're gonna ramble on, and then you guys did, and I ended up using like most of that. Yeah, no, don't do that, girl. I ended up using most of that. It was really, really good stuff. I thought most of the things that they said, most of the really kind of powerful stuff they say at the end was not scripted, and it was really great.
That's my basement.
Yep, that's Cal's basement. There's that freaking elephant thing.
Yeah, it's.
What elephant thing?
It's really weird. This little elephant like bookcase thing behind the TV there.
Yeah, it's where I used to keep books in there, and yeah, the basement's finished now, so that's gone.
Oh, bye elephant.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this was actually a lot of fun for me because this was like.
Finally, it's over.
No, because this wasn't the last thing we did.
Oh,
this was the
remember
last
that
scene we did.
Remember how the scene opened
No,
though?
we did the.
And I walk down the stairs, and then I go, and I rip off my shirt,
right,
and
the
I'm
buttons
wearing
flew
the.
off.
That was the Friday night.
There's a scene here that we cut out where basically Cal comes home from the prom, and Andre's already rolling, and Andre's kind of like making fun of him. And Cal's worn his like mission clothes under his prom clothes, and Andre's all psyched about that. It just was, wasted time. We didn't need it.
Yeah.
But it was a cool. Actually, that was actually you guys did a good job in that scene. I remember that was kind of hard to get rid of, even though I needed the time. But it was good.
Been insulted.
I hadn't showered in like 3 days, so my head looks all greasy.
I hadn't showered.
There's actually a part here where Andre fixes his hair, and I had a couple different.
He looks in the.
It's like he looks in the viewfinder and fixes his hair. There's a couple different takes, but I decided to go for that because I thought it just said something about how the fact that no matter how serious these guys are getting about
that
their plan, he's still just a teenager, still like worried about how he looks.
He's a conceited
guy.
He's a conceited guy.
He's a conceited guy.
Fucking God. I mean,
a megalomaniac too, apparently.
Well, the fun thing about this for me when editing was that I could take, just because of the way the editing's been throughout the whole movie, I could take all your best takes and like take the tiny little bits out of the best takes that were perfect and string them together. And I really enjoyed doing that. It's funny because like this is actually one of my favorite scenes, but honestly, a lot of people find it a little boring. I understand why. It's
I hate this scene.
Talking and looking at the camera, there's not much going on, but I love this scene. This to me is like, this is kind of one of the more important scenes for me. Anyway.
Watching this for me is like pulling teeth.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know. I don't like. It's too bare. I don't know. I think that there's nothing. I don't think that me not liking it is not the desired effect. I mean,
no.
I just feel like I'm on the spot when I'm watching this.
You guys, the weird thing is that you totally were on the spot when we did the scene. This was like the first scene where you couldn't just kind of banter with each other and act like real kids. It wasn't us just hanging out. This is where like it was really all lines.
And I also get really self-conscious watching this scene with people watching too.
Yeah.
Because we say some pretty.
All right.
Cal, do you still have beanbag chairs at your house?
Oh yeah.
Those are sweet.
This though, I think you guys probably had one of the most fun times on this.
Oh, this was the best night. This was the most tiring weekend, but it was also the best night.
And we shot this like a month before we did the scene right before. Yeah. It cuts well though. I'm actually happy about that. That was one thing I was really. Oh, coming up is that is the funniest improv in the whole movie.
I still don't understand like what's funny about
It's funny because it's just funny. It's just very funny. That always gets a laugh every festival.
I didn't mean for it to be funny.
Always gets a laugh. I love it. It was so great that there actually was a party across the street that night.
Yeah, that was.
Actually, I found that really.
It really heightened it for me.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys.
I thought it was hilarious that Cal told them that we were the Ray aliens when they came over to ask us who we were.
I forgot about that.
What?
Yeah, for some reason Cal was telling people we were Ray aliens that day. Cal's little weird things.
Yeah, you know they clone people?
Remember when yeah, I know they're trying to clone people.
Is that the one you want? Why don't we set the bag out on the bin? We'll take everything out. Here, just do it.
Clips.
Remember when we first did this, I used this scene as a way to show people kind of like what we were up to, and it was really long.
Oh,
and,
it was like 13 minutes.
Andre showed it to his grandmother, and she's like, oh, it wouldn't take that long to break into a house. They'd be out of there much quicker. Shut up. You go make your own damn movie.
You just told my granny to shut up?
No, I wasn't saying anything slanderous or libelous.
Can we leave now?
Wait, we just relax. Hold on. Take a breath. Relax.
Way to take charge.
I really like this
No
scene.
problems here.
As for everything else,
This is.
Whatever happened to the note?
I actually gave it to these guys.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I wrote no crosses count on the bottom. I forgot about that.
You know
remember
what's really funny, right? The lead up to that, where Cal, where you sound really nervous and you're like, we should just go. I edited that together from like 10 different takes of Cal talking off camera. He never said that in that way. And actually, it worked really well too. I was really happy with that. I like this, but nobody ever gets this. I love how like Andre, you say to Cal like, we can't leave a note, and then you just leave one anyway. So that to me is kind of the whole. This is like one of the whole things in the whole movie is like, when people plan stuff, especially teenagers, it's like for something like this, it's like, the plan is not going to be adhered to like, really strictly, and I love that. I think that's a.
Hey, it's
this
the crack
is all ADR.
addict. It's all what?
ADR.
Yeah, it's what do they call that? Like a wild card or something like that?
No, we I was the one who was actually talking with those people as they walked by, so I recorded Cal saying what I said, and then just put it over.
Movie.
I just like the idea of these guys walking by and Cal's got all these guns on his shoulder, and they're like, hey, what are you guys doing? And then remember, right after this, you guys.
Oh yeah, we turned down the block and there was a cop.
Yeah, if that cop had stopped you, you would have had guns that weren't yours and a car that wasn't yours and a state you didn't live in.
You
would have gone to jail.
Dressed in camo pants and cargo pants.
Your parents would have ripped me a new one.
We would have looked like militant right wingers.
I love this scene.
Yeah.
I think you guys did a really good job.
Yeah, it was.
We were so nervous. You remember that? We were so keyed up. I was anyway. I was very keyed up.
I just thought the coolest thing was when the armorer showed up and was like, "No one touches the weapons besides myself and the actors."
And I was like, "Oh, Mr. Armorer is so cool."
They hand me the weapons.
guns.
When I give them to them, I say hot. I thought that was interesting.
They're lethal, though. You know, you could kill someone with those blanks.
Is that what guns are for?
Do you think he saw?
No,
Did you see it in the movie?
Oh.
Is that what guns are for? Wow, I was wondering. Wait, did you give him a copy of the
guys,
movie?
we have to be more sonorous. This is a very serious scene. I can't laugh. This is my favorite little thing coming up here that we didn't plan, that we had other takes to cover. Is
I want you to know.
No, not this.
I have a third nipple.
This isn't Mystery Science Theater.
No, wouldn't that be so funny? Instead of
it wouldn't be funny at all.
Really.
No, I don't think it'd be funny. This is my favorite thing here when this car comes by. I love this. This was not planned, and we had other takes where we didn't have to worry about it. But I just love the idea of this car driving by really close.
No,
and just like
I was
not even
watching the movie
anything.
at the film festival in New York. I was sitting next to my friend Danny. He's like, "What if somebody just drove by you?" And I was like, "Just shut up and watch for a second."
This is another great thing here too. You know, this scene here.
Light the fires.
People have an expectation of budget, and when they watch most of the movie, they see this, they think, oh, whoever's making this movie doesn't have enough money to show the shooting scene.
Yep.
So this is going to be their creative way to end it without having to show it.
Their artsy way.
And when that shooting scene comes up, everywhere we've ever shown it, you always hear some guy go, ugh, because they know what they're coming in for.
Wait, say it for us.
Ugh.
Wait.
Ugh.
There.
And I really like how you guys have
I'm
planned.
so glad you cut the sound out of this part.
It's just cars backfiring.
I really like.
It sounded so asinine what they were saying. It was ridiculous.
I really like how throughout the whole movie you guys are in control of the narrative.
It's senior days.
And then in the end, what you think is going to be the end of your narrative, then the narrative switches over to this third person narrative, and now you weren't planning on anyone really to see this. You know what I mean? And
I think it's so cool how Cal just dives onto the floor and slides across it.
Yeah. Well, that was the best. We had about 4 takes of that, and that was the best one. The person who did the 911 voice, she should be here, man. She is incredible. Like she did such a good job. What I actually did was I went to a 911 lady and asked her, what would a 911 person do in this situation? If there was a phone in here that one of the shooters had, what would she say? So she gave me a list of all the things that they might say. And then I took the actor, I told her this is what a 911 lady would do. And I played the sound of the scene for her and had her do a few improvs based on what she should say. And I used some of those takes, and I mean, it just was great. Then I eventually did a few where she saw what was happening too, so she could react to it a little bit different. Yeah. But I absolutely love what she did with it. I think she just did such a good job. A lot of people sometimes think she's a real 911 lady too.
No, yeah, I thought she was a real 911 lady.
At first, I wanted to get a real 911 lady, but it was much easier just to use an actor.
They're much more submissive.
It's funny, when I was editing, I never got over when you scream, "Hey, everybody, Cal." That always gave me chills. That just really freaked me out because you're such a nice guy and you're so laid back that when you're that freaked out in the scene, it's really tough for me.
Which take of the
plexiglass?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had that take right where Andre shoots under the table there. We had a plexiglass divider to stop the force of the blank so that he could be right next to the actors who were getting shot at so they could really respond well. On the third take, the plexiglass broke, and I almost had a massive coronary. She was fine, though. Everybody was fine. Everything was fine.
Everything was fine.
The bodies were hidden, and never had to worry about it.
We can get you out of this, Andre.
Yeah, I just love that. That to me is such a big part of it. Is this idea that no matter how far these guys go, the 911 lady is trying to talk them down. I mean, and that's what the 911 person that I spoke to told me. She's like, that's what we would try to do. We would try our best to establish a rapport with them and try to talk them down. And it's like, how can you talk people down in this situation?
Doesn't it seem kind of ridiculous for the 911 operator to say, we can get you out of this?
Well, they could, though. If they dropped their guns, came out with their hands up, you would like to think, anyway, that they wouldn't get shot on the way out.
Andre, we can get you a room with a big window. Andre,
but the thing
I can
is,
arrange 3 meals a day. Andre?
Well, that's basically what it would be, but it's better than dying. I don't know. Maybe it's not. That's actually, my mom said that she was really glad they killed themselves at the end because she felt that there's nothing else for them, you know? What are they going to go to jail for the rest of their lives? But no, I mean, the thing is, but that to me is actually really, you know, I know this is a very bleak scene, but it's a very hopeful thing that someone on the other end of the line there could be basically doing their best to.
But she sounded so emotionally detached from the situation.
But that's
she was over the phone though, so I guess.
Well, no, that's not being over the phone. That was another thing that Marla explained to me, is that you cannot. It's very difficult not to, but you cannot become emotionally involved in the situation that you're monitoring as a 911 operator. You have to be calm because no one else is being calm. Basically, you know, people are calling up, I just stabbed my boyfriend. What the hell? You know, and they've got to be like, you want to take the knife out of your boyfriend, you know, and they've got to stay very calm because they're the voice of reason, sometimes the only voice of reason in these situations. But then, you know, afterwards they have nervous breakdowns. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
Do they really?
You know, it's not an easy job. In fact, it was really weird.
Do they get paid minimum wage?
When I went, I have no idea what they get paid. But when I was talking with Marla, she played a bunch of 911 calls for me. That was very weird. This is actually, you know, just a real quick technical thing that I'm very proud of. Is we shot the scene, I edited the scene, all on the same stuff that we use for everything else, which is mini DV. But then I took the edited scene, dumped that off to VHS, brought that back to DV, brought it back to VHS again, and brought that back to DV and brought it in to give it, like, you know, you see down at the bottom, there's that kind of tracking line that VHS sometimes gets, and there'll be like dropouts, like real typical VHS dropouts, and it put a big fuzz on everything. If you look at Cal's legs right now in this scene, this is great. This is really great, this part right here.
Can you see the plastic? Like, that's what I always wondered about.
Really can't.
In the top left-hand corner.
My brother, by the way, sorry, I hate to interrupt, but my brother was right behind the couch there with a bag of blood, just squeezing it out. It really looks disturbing, though. Yeah. It really looks like arterial spurt.
Well, I remember when I was walking by, I saw the blood spurting out, and I was like, uh-oh, something went horribly wrong.
That's right. I forgot all, but you thought that.
And I just looked at the blood, and I was like, uh-oh. And then I kind of saw Chris sitting behind the couch, just kind of like waving. I was like, oh, all right, it's all good.
Waving. Oh, God. You guys remember the whole thing we had? That always gets a laugh. Fuck you always gets a laugh. I'm actually really proud of that as a filmmaker, that you can engineer a laugh into such a dark scene. Usually doesn't get a laugh when someone watches it alone at home. Then it doesn't get a laugh. But in an audience,
well, how do you know?
It gets a laugh. I was talking with a couple. I had an interview last night with some guy, that Warren Curry guy.
Did you say Mark Curry?
Went really well. Warren Curry.
Oh, I was like, Mr. Cooper?
Moron Curry? Yeah, Moron Curry.
I feel bad we killed him.
Can you pick up?
Yeah, you know, do you guys remember everything that we had to do with the rugs?
Oh, God.
You know, it was only Cal, Andre, and I basically putting the rugs down. We had to cover over their rugs so we wouldn't ruin their rugs. Cal threw his back out. I didn't believe him. We had to, and then, you know, and I had to pick up all these rugs from an old school that they were getting ripped up from. They were all disgusting and nasty, holes and nails in them. And I laid down all the rugs. And then the day after we do this, after I clean out all the freaking rugs, the day after,
paint the walls.
Yeah, painted the walls. They have a fucking flood. There's a rainstorm. They have a flood, and all their rugs are ruined.
I thought they were gonna stick it to you to redo it.
I thought they would too. I thought I didn't think they'd tell me that. I thought they would say something to the effect of, "You got blood on our rugs. You're gonna have to pay for new rugs." But they are actually really, really cool. It was funny. I mean, they were a little standoffish at first, but basically
that's his homage to.
Not at all. No.
Homage. What's the word?
No, homage. My homage. Drivers in the scene with you guys in the bedroom with all the guns. That
you told him to do that specifically to
shoot himself in the head, but in Driver he's got it to his side.
I love the way that Ben just speaks so flippantly about me shooting myself in the head. Yeah, I told him to shoot himself in the head, but you know.
Yeah, you were really nervous about that, rightly so.
Yeah, I was pretty nervous too.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean that's why you have an armor, so make sure everything's kosher.
It's alright. We'll just... Would you rather get
shot by cops.
Here, you know, the thing I like the most about this is actually in the script. What I had planned was, I don't know if you guys remember this. You probably do. I don't think you ever even read the script.
You told me. Are you talking about when we shoot each?
No, I never had it like that. I'd always thought that at the end, when these guys kneel down to commit suicide, that your heads would be cut off by top of frame, and it would be difficult to tell, you know, who was who and who was saying what. But then, as we started shooting, I realized you guys were such distinct characters that would never happen anyway. There's no way that they couldn't tell your voices apart or your attitudes. And I think it's actually really important that your suicides be the most brutal thing you actually see, because you're the characters that the guys were watching.
Andre, where are you?
I love that though. I love "Where are you?" You know, because it's double meaning, and I think it's cool.
Oh, we got like 10 seconds here before we shoot ourselves. This is pontification about numbers and.
This is another big laugh. One of the only. Well, I shouldn't say big laugh. This is another one of the only laughs in the shooting scene.
They love this scene.
They love this scene. This plays great in Peoria.
We can get you out of this, Andre.
My homage, Full Weapon.
But that's what I'm saying. Exactly. That's what I'm saying though. I just love this idea that this woman is still trying to like. You know, actually, in some strange ways, you know, practically at this point probably the best point for them to give up, because there's no, you know, they don't have any hostages, out of bullets, they're out of adrenaline, but.
Andre, we can get you out of this.
1, 2.
Choosing the number, I love that. It's a great idea, Andre. This was Andre's best idea for an improv, I have to say, and it really added a lot. Really added a lot, because there's no way we had to end it. We had to end it this way. You guys can't. We can't. I wanted to remain realistic, and I think that's realistic. I don't think we'd have it. It didn't seem right
that we would just sit down and just go bang.
Yeah, there had to be something. I'd actually written it was a much more sorrowful, teary-eyed thing. All right, there we go. Oh, jeez.
Bang.
Now, here's the thing about that, is that the special effect that I had planned for that did not work at all. So I had to go and make a million other little blood spurts on my own and then digitally add those in to the heads. I think I did a pretty good job. No one has ever guessed that right off the bat. Maybe someone will, but...
No, definitely not. No one I've ever talked to had any idea that it was completely digital.
It dyed my hair red.
I really thought about going even farther and having like heads basically blow off, but I just thought that
and aliens come out.
Minimal is better. And this is great too. The shift in perspective. You know, we were in your guys' control for all the movie except for the shooting scene. Now we go back into someone else's control, and people are confused, and they're like, "Who are these people? What's happening?"
Well,
is this Faisal's car?
No, this is my brother's car.
I always wonder.
Chris's old car?
No, Chris's new car. Well, new-ish. I mean, it's a 1989.
I always kind of wonder when this part first starts, if anybody wonders, did they get away? Like,
right.
Because the voice, is it Dave who's speaking first?
Yeah, I think Dave speaks first.
Yeah, I always wonder if people think, because Dave sounds kind of like me, I think.
My partner Dave Chef, ProfessorBride.com.
Yeah, right.
Birthday parties and bar mitzvahs.
Shut the hell up, you son of a bitch. Birthday parties and bar mitzvahs. I'll do yours for free, Cal. Thanks for helping me. I made every one of those crosses. I mitered them. I put them together all myself. 14 crosses. That was
what did you do with
hard
them?
Work. What's that? Oh, I just chucked them when we're done.
You just chucked them?
I have the cross pieces that say your guys' names, but that's it.
That's kind of creepy.
What the hell am I going to do with 14 wooden crosses that are 7 feet tall? Put them up in my basement? Hey, guys, you want to see my crosses?
No, Ben, it would be great. We could go and hang them up in random places.
That sounds great, Cal. Let's do that. You know, the thing about... Oh, you know, you look sad. The thing about this scene for me is that I really like, and I don't know if anyone thinks this or gets this or cares for this, but my whole thing here is I just like the idea of taking an image like a burning cross, which is so loaded. I mean, it's a very loaded racist image, and completely putting it into a different context and having a completely different meaning. I love Faisal. Boy in hell, motherfuckers. I love Faisal.
Faisal's
That's
great.
why I threw Faisal in there, because not only was he one of the best guys in the auditions, but he's Pakistani, so it kind of eliminates the whole race issue because he's not white.
Has he ever seen the movie?
Yeah, I can't get in touch with him. I don't know whatever happened to that guy.
Benji did a great
Coccio
job
song.
with
Of course,
the
we
song.
had the Beach Boys song.
Right.
Beforehand, we had "I Wasn't Made for These Times," which they wouldn't give us permission to use.
Which is a
and
great song.
It was really great, but you know what?
I think this is
I know
better.
this sounds like exactly what I would say, but I actually like this song better. I think I like it better mainly because it feels like it was made for it, and I kind of
Well,
like
it was.
that.
He wrote it just for this song.
No, he
I mean,
did
movie.
not. No, he did not. This was just one of his stable songs.
See,
What's
the
her
girl,
name? What's her name?
I don't know what her name is.
Yes, she's it doesn't matter.
Oh, and I should say Dave Alcorn.
That's when I won the spelling bee in first grade.
I should say Dave
That's me fat.
Dave Alcorn did the credits, and he did
That's
a
me
really good
fat.
job. The credits are the only way at the beginning of the movie that anyone, hopefully will give this movie kind of like the time of day, because,
Yeah,
if it just
'cause your
starts off with
credits-
video, forget it, nobody cares.
Yeah, your credits sucked.
Oh, even the ones that I was trying to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, of course. That's why I got someone to do it.
But I mean, no, they didn't suck. They weren't that bad. But I mean, you're right that you needed something that
Cal's talking about, I had made some kind of mock-up credits before I got Dave Alcorn to do the actual credits.
I never saw those.
Yeah, I think he probably did. They were.
Yes, you did.
All I saw was
They were kind of like this. They were the basic idea of this. They were just much more simple and really bad.
Oh, maybe I did see it. I'm not sure.
One thing that
that's
he
what
did
we
that was
watched
really
until-
cool, which
that's
I
what
didn't
we
even
watched.
think of doing, was that he put that like kind of halftone pattern on you guys. You notice that? I love that. I think that.
Oh, like
it
as
kind
if
of
it
brings
cut
you-
out of a picture?
Yeah, like a newspaper.
Like out of a
photo.
newspaper?
It really kind of adds a lot. I think it's really nice. But I've always liked title sequences that while the titles are rolling, the movie kind of continues. And I know that there's no like plot addition in this,
Right.
but it's like a kind of another little insight, because here's part of your lives that you don't see throughout the movie, which is before you decided to set this plan in motion.
You know what we should have done?
Here you guys are smiling and it's your
After, we should have shot
birthday.
another scene in the movie, like in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where he just comes down the stairs in his bathrobe and he's like, "The movie's over. Go home."
Yeah, that's a great idea.
We should have done something
Except you
like
have
that.
Gaping holes in the backs of your head.
The movie's over.
What are you doing
Go.
here?
You're all blue.
Go home.
Oh, Lord have mercy on my heathen soul. No,
I'll try.
no. I mean, I just like the idea of working it back to when you're little babies, because
but
I know it's a trite and banal point, but I mean, you take
Ben.
the worst people in history and they came from a baby, and I mean, like, if you kind of do it visually like this, at the very least, it's a little bit
The
poetic.
maiden
I think
perk.
it's-
I feel I
I
should
know,
I
that's
should
right.
mention
We
that
should
it's
really say
actually
it's main.
main and perk.
And it's closed down
Yeah.
now.
You're serious? Oh, really?
Yeah,
Why?
they got kicked out of their building.
There's carpet play.
Okay, wait. That's my
This
little
film is-
brother.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, there we go. Yes.
That's my little
right. That's
brother,
your little
the
brother.
bottom
'cause
one.
That
That is not me.
No good baby pictures of Cal. Oh, they were all on his wall, and his folks wouldn't give them to me. This is Ben Coccio, director of Zero Day. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. You guys want to say goodbye?
Oh, this is
Goodbye.
Andre. I played Andre. So thank you for being with us.